What's up guys, it's XeqtR from the Tennos. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can go 3.5 hours on a Tower 3 survival. So let's jump into this. Today I have a couple POVs for you. I'm going to show you the Trinity and the Mag POV. We're running two Trinities in this, so the Trinity will be identical to the other one in terms of the gameplay. And the fourth frame we're running is a Necros, which is pretty much just stand in a corner and spam Desecrate. So let's get started. The first and most important factor to running a long survival is choosing a good room. As you can see here, well, I'm running away from the room right now. As I'm running back here, this is the room that we eventually did decide on. There's lots of different rooms that do work for survival, but we chose this one because it has better bottlenecks. What I mean is that they're all grouping up in a certain area, which uses our Mag's shield polarized to its most effectiveness. In this, it's different than running, obviously, a single faction, because you have every faction, and so you can't just use shield polarized is more of a corpus thing, and then for Grineer you have to run corrosive projection mod to get rid of all their armor. So since shield polarized is an AoE based on taking away the shield, exploding around it, it's better if they're all grouped up, because then when you use shield polarized on those shielded targets, the Grineer that are around will also take that damage. And so what we found is that we're even killing the heavy gunners with shield polarized just because they're standing next to corpus that have shields. So you might be wondering, with the Trinities, it's a little bit different than kind of what we did with our 7-hour. We are doing the blessing thing, but now we're actually more focused on Link. The reason we brought the Trinities more than anything is because we found that one time when we were doing a Grineer was that once they get to a certain level, they actually end up killing themselves by hitting you with the Link. So what will happen is, throughout this video, you can watch and see some of the enemies, once they shoot me once, they'll die. And the reason for this is because enemies' damage scales up much faster and higher than their own HP. Because I'm assuming as the game is developed, they want the damage to increase to kill the player, but they don't account on enemies actually fighting against themselves. So their health and their damage are completely unrelated in terms of being scaled together. So there comes a point where at a certain level they end up killing themselves. So it's really nice if you get hit by a napalm or a bombard or something like that, because once it hits you, anything that's attached to that Link will die instantly. So we do have, we have the Mag, we have the Trinities. The Trinities, really, the Link thing is only for the stragglers that don't get killed by the polarized, because once shields are gone, Mag can't do damage until they regenerate. So the Trinities are really nice for that, because in survival, the most essential part is killing fast. Because now that they've put a cap on the number of enemies that are on the map, you need to be killing them as fast as possible to maximize the amount of greens that you're getting. Because the Necros is desecrating constantly, so the more bodies you can bring in, because more will spawn once you kill them, the better. So here I'm bringing you the Mag POV. Luckily, Burry was nice enough to give me this footage so I can comment on his gameplay a little bit. So with the Mag, obviously your biggest damage dealing thing is shield polarized. So the main important part about shield polarized is it's most effective when they're grouped up. Like I talked about before, our bottleneck is at the end of this bridge. So most times Burry's going to wait for them to group up before he uses shield polarized, and that's because it's just more effective when there's more enemies, more shields, because more damage is there when he uses it. Right now it looks like they're just getting grouped up in the ramp on the left side. We noticed they were kind of getting stuck there, and that's another thing you have to look out for, because enemies will get stuck on the map. Like if you notice that the spawns become less consistent, then you have to know that something could be wrong. They could be getting stuck, because they do get grouped up to where they get stuck sometimes. And so fixing that could put everything back to normal and increase your your spawns and everything like that. I know that just recently they put in a patch that increased the Tower 3 survival spawns. We did this a week before that, so this is actually on the quote-unquote less spawns patch, but honestly, we didn't have any troubles at all, so I think there was some people that were posting on the forums said they had some troubles. So I'm going to try to go over a little bit of the reasons and strategies of how we're able to get so many spawns. So, like I said before, it's all dependent upon how fast you kill, but it's also dependent upon the room you choose. The way that the game works now, enemies spawn where players' cameras aren't facing. So by us being in a smaller room, we have less outward facing cameras, and so enemies, as we're not looking at their spawns, are spawning closer to us. So for instance here, they're probably spawning around this room across the bridge, up on these ramps around here. So they're coming in and they're being there consistently. And then behind us, if you remember in the video, is where extraction is. And so that's, a lot of enemies are coming out of that door behind us. And since we have this kind of wall behind us here, we're not looking that way or at that door. As a Trinity, I'm peeking out there to see what's coming over. But other than that, I'm not really going in there too much and looking at the spawns. And so we're consistently getting enemies from there, we're consistently getting enemies from across the bridge, and so that's what's most important here. Alright, so here I'm showing you pretty much the end of our survival. We did plan, we did a Grenier survival not too long ago, and we ended up getting to level cap. The enemies scaled out really high and they just stopped spawning altogether. It was essentially like beating survival because all the enemies stopped spawning and then we just left. We were attempting to do that here, and we got a bit of an issue with, I think, lag, because as you can see in the top left, we still have oxygen, but it dipped down to like 1% and it counted it as 0. So even though we have that oxygen there, it counted it as us losing. So our end time ended up being 3 hours, 34 minutes. It's still a good time. Unfortunately, we should have obviously been paying attention to the oxygen sooner, but in my opinion, since we do see that number there, we weren't too late on it. But there's no arguing over it. We still got a lot of mods, still had fun with it, and we're able to bring this video to you guys. So hope you guys like it, and you can watch Burry run around looking for mods here. A few things I wanted to touch on. For one, we're trying to come up with new video ideas. One of the things that's coming up, we're wanting to do level cap on defense. So be looking out for that. We believe it's going to be around 500 to 600 waves of defense, and we think we've come up with a pretty fast method to where we can get it done in probably about 5 hours. So if you know our other runs, that's not very long for us. And so yeah, that's something to look forward to. It's actually going to be on Grenier. I know that we've been bringing you a lot of Corpus stuff, so we thought we're going to bring some Grenier out for you. What I really want is suggestions. If you guys have any sort of ideas for a video you want to see, or something that you want us to explain, possibly even a challenge you can give us. The challenge would probably have to be something along the lines of, see how far you can get with doing so-and-so, name a comp or something like that. I'm going to put the links to the builds at the end of here. This should be on the screen here. And also, if you guys are wondering what weapon I was using on Trinity, I don't have the other weapon builds, but at least for Trinity, I was using my the AoE Lanka build that we have on our channel here. If you want to check that out, it's a really good build. It actually was very effective against the enemies we were fighting, which were in around 3,000. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and hope you like the video and subscribe, because we're bringing some more awesome stuff pretty soon. So thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you later.